Welcome, personal governors. I'm your host, JP.WATKINS, and today's topic is approach versus intention. And now we got to unpack this a little bit, because sometimes we're well-intentioned. I'm guilty of this myself. I remember when I first got on my road to refinement, I started seeing myself making progress. I started seeing myself pulling away from my old self, pulling away from that hot-headedness, from that hot temper, from that criminal mindset, pulling away from that self-limitation, pulling away from that sense of self-defeat. And then all of a sudden I just felt that, hey, I wanted to be evangelistic. Hey man, look, you know, this positive thinking. And next thing you know, I want to just exact it on other people. People that aren't ready for it. People who didn't ask for it. People that may not receive it very well, right? And you may say, well, but your intentions are good. But what does intentions mean if the results aren't good? And this is something that I've experienced. I come from a family, we have very powerful personalities, and a lot of us are highly opinionated, right? And it's just like a lot of people, and especially in the Western society, we have a high appreciation for our opinion. Oh yeah, well, I'm well-reasoned, I'm well-read, I'm pretty educated about this, got a lot of experience in that area, right? So we like to think that we know what we're talking about. And in some cases, we do. But in some cases, especially when it comes to approach, how you approaching people, that matters. And guess what? There is no one approach that's going to be good for everybody. Because some people like the shot jockeying, right? You know, a lot of times, I get that from people. Oh man, Dub, we want you just in full rant mode. We love that, Dub. We want the one that's dropping the F-bombs, dropping the B-bombs. But me, I'm like, look, I don't want to be a shell. I don't want to be Dub from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. That's not growth. That's not maturity. I want to make my contribution. And I want people to grow with me. I want people to look back. I want people to look at and read that Do-Dirt Doctrine and read the darkness and read the desperation and how people survive in the margins. And it's not that that's not a part. That's not the Do-Dirt Doctrine. It's very much a part of who I am. Why? Because that hood part of me is what got me here. Reading that hood book, Horsing from Donald Goins, that's how you have, there is no personal governance without that, without those so-called hood books. There is no personal governance without the Do-Dirt Doctrine. That's part of my evolution. That's part of evolving. Right? So guess what I learned as I evolved? I learned that approach is important, because the younger me, it was all about weaponizing my honesty, right? Always using a sledgehammer, Young lady talking, wake up in the morning. Hey, good morning, babe. Good morning? Your breath smell like sheep. Yeah. Ish. And then, she go mouthwash. I didn't hurt her feelings. Wasn't that I was being dishonest. Just that my approach was harsh. And I know some people saying, well, hey, I'm just going to be me. I'm going to say what I want to say, and I'm going to say how I want to say it. That's fine. Just be willing to receive that. And that's when I realized, well, I had these good intentions, but my approach is not always the best. So I want to evaluate. So my thing is this. Like I said, there is no one way to approach when you're really trying to help somebody. But that's the first thing. Ask yourself, what's your motivation? Are you doing this to upstage somebody? Or are you really trying to help them? Are you trying to hurt their feelings? I got a friend of mine, shout out to my homeboy Lito. He talk about, people make these jabs. People, the jab. And even my homeboy, shout out to Automatic. We talk about how a lot of times women, they tend to shoot these little soft shots at each other. Take these little jabs about, oh, nice shoes. Oh yeah, I seen those on the clearance rack last week. It's an indirect insult. That's what these jabs are, right? So sometimes, even though you may have good intentions, your approach may be bad. Now this, for professional development, this is really important, because sometimes You may be the manager, but you managing somebody that's 20 years your senior. And your approach is important. You get to talking to them like you're your kids. A lot of times it ain't gonna work out too well. And so what, you wanna just have, you just wanna, hey, look, I'm a manager. I'm the boss, I'm the supervisor. And next thing you know, you got a hostile work environment. Next thing you know, you got people putting in their resignations. Or you may even get hopped on depending on how strong you come at somebody. So it's important. Approach is important. And I will argue that sometimes it's equally as important as your intentions. Because what does good intentions mean if you pull it off with a bad approach? If you really love people, if you really support people and you want to help them, be mindful of your approach. So if they singing and they out there, Michael rolls the boulder. Hey man, will you shut? If you know they serious and you know they talking about going on The Voice or American Idol, be mindful about your approach. Offer them some genuine critique. You know, come from a loving place. Don't sit there and front them off in front of their family and friends. Pull them aside and say, hey man, you serious about this? You know, and sit there and give them some real critique. They say, well, you know, I kind of liked when you did it like that, you know. Well, everyone needs some love sometimes. They need love. You need love. Hey. Oh, yeah, that, okay, but do this, drop it like that. Give some honest critique rather than dead end criticism. Approach is so important. All right, well, that's my time for the day. Please subscribe, please share. And in the meantime, persist, believe, and achieve.